This is the Whole Care Network. Helping you tell your story one podcast at a time. Content presented in the following podcast is for information purposes only. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the host and guest and may not represent the views and opinions of the Whole Care Network. Always consult with your physician for any medical advice, and always consult with your attorney for any legal advice. And thank you for listening to the Whole Care Network.
Hello, my friend. This is a Time to Care the Caregivers podcast, and I'm Isabel Melgarejo, your host. I'm so happy to have you here. Today, we're going to be talking about random acts of kindness. So, let's get started. Funny thing, last week it was Random Acts of Kindness week. The same with Valentine's Day. But I think random acts of kindness happen all the time, so I just postponed it for a week. Plus, I thought it was more important to talk about a full day of love with you and giving yourself love. I prioritize that. So I was looking random things on the internet, and I found the Random Acts of Kindness week, and there is a full foundation about that. I will link this foundation into the podcast, and you can go there and see what people are talking about. It is very encouraging and very positive, so I would highly recommend that you go there because it's only positive things. So I will link that into the show notes. Then I decided that it was a good topic for this podcast. So here we are talking about random act of kindness. First of all, you do a lot of them, but I want you to pay attention to those random acts of kindness that people do for you. Because I am pretty sure that there are tons of these examples throughout your life that you haven't even paid attention to. And the sad thing is that I was going through this blog and this website full of things that people do for someone, and they share their stories. And that made me think, like, hey, what is done for me? And the first thing that I thought is nothing. Nobody does anything for me. And probably you're thinking the same thing, like nobody does anything for me. And then upon reviewing my life a little bit, I'm completely wrong. A lot of people do a lot of things for me. Some of them have absolutely nothing to do with me. And some of them are people that I love. But I receive these sort of kindness every single day. And I think it's very, very important that we acknowledge all the care and love that we receive from people that we know, people that we love, people that we care about, and also from people that have absolutely nothing to do with us. So what can be a random act of kindness? Were you walking down the street and someone smiled to you? That is a random act of kindness. And you should welcome it. Smile is so important, and it lights up our hearts every single time. So pay attention to those details. Did someone greet you while you were driving? I remember when we were looking for a home, we did a lot of research, and we drove all over and visited a lot of communities. And one of the things that we thought when buying a house was that we wanted our community to wave when we were driving. So we did. We bought our home in a community where people wave to the cars while driving. And it is amazing because you get greeted all the time. And that was just something very random that probably most people don't pay attention to. Maybe you can start paying attention to that. If you go to a restaurant, if you go anywhere, like, how do people treat you? Pay attention to those details. Have you noticed a happy face on your ticket or your Starbucks cup? That is a random kind of act of kindness. And actually, like, that is very fun. That is very sweet. Like, people are smiling at you. So just pay attention to those kinds of details. And maybe your loved ones, they let you sleep in one day. Or your spouse or partner came over and gave you a kiss before leaving. And if you're going through a tough time, have you thought about the things that your friends have done for you? I find that when you're a caregiver, we receive a lot of those random kinds of acts of kindness at the beginning, and then they start draining. And the pain and the effort, those don't go away. You still have to manage a lot of things. And one of the reasons I believe those acts go away is because we really don't appreciate them when we first start receiving this care. We don't pay attention to what our friends and other family members are doing for us. I recently started working with a client. She was telling me how hard it has been to share this journey with her family, and that she feels not part of it, and that she would like to be a bigger part of the process with her family. What I find really sad is that even though she's providing care, her family is not noticing all the kindness that she is putting into this process. So if you are receiving any kinds of act of kindness, thank them. I'm being very serious about this. We don't thank people enough for what they do. Last year, in the 2 masterminds and the 2 courses that I was taking, I was feeling so overwhelmed. And probably I forgot thanking enough to all these people that became part of a tremendous change in my life. And I think we need to start thanking people for what they do for us. And we need to start paying attention to what is happening in our lives. We just can't go through life expecting things to be amazing when they are, and we're not even noticing. So pay attention to what's going on in your life. Because I am a great believer that as a society, we do a lot for each other. I started reading a book about 52 habits that you start implementing throughout a year. And by the end of the year, you are supposed to have a very healthy life. I don't remember which week was it, but they talk about keeping a food journal. And I was like, this is so lame. I'm not counting calories. I don't think it was the purpose of that chapter. I need to reread it and probably do it if I want to. But what if we were to keep a journal of all the nice things that we have in life? I think that would be great. I think we could journal about one thing that was good in our days. One thing. Imagine how different our lives would be if we would, like, by the end of the day, we would write down one thing, one good thing that we had that day. We would be more positive, more grateful, and we would start discovering what everybody out there is doing for us. even if it's just a smile, even if it's a wave while you're driving, whatever it is. I encourage you today to start paying attention to those things that people are doing for you. And if people have stopped doing those things, I think it would be a great moment to start all over again. Start connecting with people and start putting ourselves out there and having a social life. Thank you so much for joining me. I am receiving clients. If you're interested in building a plan for your loved ones and for yourself, get some time with me on my calendar. Go to the show notes, scroll all the way down, and the link is going to be there. Press that link. You will get access to my calendar. Pick the best time for you, whatever time works, and I'll see you. Schedule that time and we'll talk. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and see you next week.
This is the Whole Care Network. Helping you tell your story one podcast at a time.